Good morning to everyone. Uh, I will be your facilitator today. So, my name is Major Dempsey Depayso, 0153163 Philippine Army Reserve. Okay, yours truly is your Assistant Commandant here at Cordillera Career Development College. Okay. So, in behalf of the ROTC unit, led by our Commandant, Lieutenant Colonel Bolo, okay, we would like to welcome you all in this institution. Okay, so your institution, your home away from home. Okay, so I will be your facilitator for this hour. Okay, and our topic would be values education. So, okay, let's get started. So, what is before we go to each topic, what is our learning outcomes? Okay, this I'm sorry. You can see here the profile of the instructor. The instructor who created this lecture material, and these are the classroom rules. Okay, so if you are listening, please, if you are using your cell phone, of course, you can use that. Okay, so if you could, you just go to the restroom. Okay, and please do not just open your computer, your cell phones, and you will not be listening. So please uh, cooperate and accompany or listen to us. Okay. So what is our learning outcome? At the end of this session, the students must be able to apply values education, okay, or self-development. Okay. And what are the scope of our presentation? The scope of our presentation will be as follows: self-development, values education, forces that shapes contemporary values, theories of values formation, ethics and moral education, morality and our conscience. Okay, so let's get started. So self-development. What is self-development? Under self-development, we have here perceived self. Okay, perceived self is composed of a set of self-cognitions regarding one's traits, competencies, and values. It is reinforced through feedback. Okay, so what is this? Okay, it means that what do you have, or what can you do? Okay, so improve what you have, or what you can do to develop yourself. For example, okay, you are a person eh, who is good in playing basketball, and you are declared to be the best player. So you see yourself as such the best player. That's why even though you are tired or you cannot do it, because you are tired, because people uh, see you as the best player, you are doing your best to become the best player. So that is the perceived self. Second is, okay, so in this example also you see that the cat perceive himself as a lion. Okay, so yun ang tingin nila sa kanya. So kahit na hindi niya kaya, kinakaya niya because the people agrees on what he perceive about himself. Okay. The next is, okay, the ideal self. Okay, the ideal self represents the set of traits, competencies, and values an individual would like to possess. Okay? Kanina, yung ano yung nasa iyo. Kung ano yung kaya mo na gawin. Ngayon, ano yung gusto mo, okay, na i-possess o no nasa iyo. For example, is that an example, a person would like to become a best basketball player. Anong gagawin niya? Then you need to practice, okay? You need to practice. Or what do you like, and or what you like to become? Okay? Let's say for example, if you want to become an officer someday, then you need to do good in your studies. Pass your board exam and join the service. If you have done this, done these things, it reflects self-development. Okay, so that is self-development. perceived perceived self and ideal self. Okay. Okay, you see that? So you can see also in the mirror. Okay, what is your ideal self? That is supposed to be your ideal self. You kita nyo, maliit siya pero ang gusto niya parang malaki siya. So anong gagawin mo? You need to work for that. Okay? Then next is self-identities. What are self-identities? Are those aspects of individuals' self-concept that are derived from social categories to which he or she perceives himself, herself as belonging to. Social identities link individuals to reference groups which establish a set of rules, expectations, and norms that guide the individual's behavior within each social identities. Okay? So, ito naman, sa self-identities, where do you link or where or connect yourself to be identified? Saan mo gustong ma-identify? Where do you link yourself? Okay? So, you may link yourself to be an academic achiever in your school. As such, you have to act as one. Or, you want to be a good, uh, for example, person, then you need to link your your personality or yourself to good persons. Ayaw mong ayaw mong maling sa mga ibang tao, then of course, then iiwasan mo yung hindi mo gustong maling. So this is what we call self-identities. Okay? You see that? Okay? So, in your mind, nakikita mo kung saan ka dapat pupunta. Okay? If you can see here, there are many phases. Okay? Those are the phases where you choose where you want to link with. Okay? So, that's it. Next will be okay, self-esteem. Ano ba ang self-esteem? It's the evaluative component of self-concept. It is the function of the distance between the ideal, self-perceived, or self. Okay? So, ang self-esteem, in simple terms, it is self-confidence. Okay? What can you do and what you want to become. If you have self-esteem, you will experience the perceived self and the ideal self. Okay? So we have discussed a while ago kung ano yung perceived self and ideal self. Yun, if you have self-esteem, then you can achieve those. Okay? Unlike here, if you can see this picture, the self-esteem, okay, the person have a low esteem if this outside things are yung nasa kanya. But, okay, this ones and others. But, if you want to have a high esteem, okay, self-esteem, it would be better if okay, the attitude of I can control. Okay, you can choose yourself, you can love yourself, you can say the words, say to yourself, okay, and finding purpose in life. You can also you have courage to try new things. Okay, how I react to criticism, how would you react? Okay, and then ignoring negative thoughts, that's very good. Okay, you need to ignore negative thoughts because if you encourage negative thoughts, walang mangyayari sa'yo, especially as a student. Okay, if for example it happened to you fail in one subject, then dapat hindi yung negative na aalis ka or magde-drop ka, but instead you improve, you study, okay, re-enroll again the subject, and you need to pass. Okay, choosing to be responsible for my actions. No, this one, being responsible for your actions is not taken only by it's not only being hindi lang sa'yo yon. Ito nakukuha rin sa training. Like say for example, here in ROTC, you are being trained to be more responsible in your actions. Okay? So, tinitrain kayo na maging responsible person and accepting myself and others. Okay? So, these are some components or components of self-esteem. As I've said, self-esteem is simply explained as a self right, confidence. Okay? So, self-confidence. Okay? Especially in your line of course, okay? When you will become a officer someday, you need to have this self-confidence also, high self-esteem. Why? Because as leaders in the community, then you need to have self-confidence. How can you lead if you don't have a high self-esteem? Okay, so you remember that. Okay. And next is values education. Values. Okay, what is values or what are values? Values are beliefs which we hold to be true, those noble ideals we struggle to attain and implement in our daily lives, derived from the natural and moral laws, and not from an individual's opinion and feelings. Okay, so what are the values? Okay, so values is based on not only on opinions and feelings of an individual. Remember that it is derived from the natural and moral laws. Okay, what is this moral laws? These are beliefs and moral laws which is being believed by people or derived from people long time ago. Okay, so values, what are the ano yung mga values natin? There are some values, it varies. Why? Because we belong to different cultures. Let's say, for example, here in the Cordillera, we have different values, but the, though it is different, but it's just the same na maganda yung pinatutungan natin. And also beliefs, okay? And some beliefs that we have is, let's say, for example, inayan. For our forefathers, inayan is a term wherein you need to do things the right way because it's inayan means it might do something or it might not be. It might there might not be a good thing happening to you or you need to follow it because it is supposed to be the thing that you need to do. Okay. Then if you can see here the pictures, okay, they have different. Okay, why? Because values varies from different kinds of cultures. Okay, it might be moral right for them, but for the other tribe it's wrong. Okay, let's say for example in other tribes in our places. Okay, let's say for example tribal wars. Those are for us here. For them it is acceptable. The Kalinga tribe is having a tribal war. For them, naturally, it is accepted in their moral laws. But for us here in the Benguet province and other provinces, are not accepted because it is not our belief. Okay, it did not derive from our natural and moral laws. Okay, so but for them, it was since time immemorial. It was already derived from their natural and moral laws. Okay, but as time goes by, that is being changed. Okay, nowadays. Next is values education. Values education is based on rational understanding of the human person, specifically on understanding of the Filipino as human being in society, in his or her role in shaping society and environment. So, what does it mean? Okay, so values, especially for us Filipinos, basically it came from our parents. Okay, and values education is always begins at home. Okay, so yung mga tinuturo ng nanay at tatay natin sa atin, and also and how to shaping our society and also our environment. Okay, if you can see this picture, it gives more explanation. Okay, that the child is being taught how to care for the environment. So next will be on theories of values formation. So first theory is on Psycho-Analytic Theory by Sigmund Freud. So what does it mean? Or anong isinasuggest? It suggests that The unconscious forces act to determine personality and behavior. To Freud, the unconscious is the part of the personality about which a person is unaware. So, uh, it simply explains the psychoanalytic theory is being explained simply by these three provinces of the human mind. Okay, we have the what first is we have the id. Okay, so id is simply all about what we want. Okay, because in here it talks about impulse, okay, desire, and pleasure. Okay, pleasure. So lahat ng mga to, uh, it's simply what anong ibig sabihin? Lahat mga yan, yat ay wants. Okay. Then second is ego. What is ego? Okay. Ego is the sense of self. Okay. Sense of self realistic. And third, okay, is the superego. It controls ano ang kinokontrol ng superego? Okay? Lahat yung nasa taas, impulse, okay, desires and pleasure. So, meaning, okay, ang superego, ito yung nagkukontrol sa lahat. Because all human being have this, okay, unconsciously. So, for example, id. Ano bang id? Impulse. Like, so, for example, libido. Itong paboritong example. Ang libido. Gusto mong makipagtalik sa isang tao or what? But, the super ego is saying, no, it's not yet the right time. Why? It's not yet the right time. Because, you don't have and you can, it is not it is not the right time for you, okay, to have sexual relationship with others. Okay, so meaning, okay, the ego and superego is within the person. Okay, so ito yung nagtutulak sa atin kung ano yung gagawin natin. And good that we have the superego which controls. Let's say for example, kakain ka. Okay, kakain ka, gusto mo kainin mo lahat, but sinasabi ni superego, wag. Bakit? Kasi baka masobrahan mo, magkasakit ka. Okay? So, these are the things, okay, that these three are doing. Okay? So, it is more on self-realization, more on uh, controlling oneself or uh, doing things the right way. Okay? Then second, behaviorist theory. Okay? According to Watson, okay, the behavioral respective suggests that the keys to understanding developing are observable behavior and outside stimuli in the environment. If we know the stimuli, we can predict the behavior. Okay, so here in this picture, it's very clear that you can see a mother teaching the child. Okay, so it says here that when we observe something, observable observable behavior. Okay, so ang sinasabi dito ni Watson is that all behaviors that we have is being observed, especially when we are a child. Okay, so lahat ng mga characteristics natin, especially not only within our home but also in our environment. You can see that in, let's say for example, uh, kapag ang tatay mo is mekaniko, okay? Ang tendency, nakikita mo siya. Ang tendency, pwede ka ring maging mekaniko. Or, if you want to, if you have seen your father as a police officer or an officer in the armed forces, yun rin ang gusto mo. Kasi yun ang yun ang nakikita mong behavior, or in a community where you belong. Let's say for example, they are always using this as an example, especially in Metro Manila. Those people in the squatter areas, ano ba ang tingin nila sa kanila? In general, marurumi, mga magnanakaw, or what? Why? Because in that area, in the environment, okay, this here, the environment eh, is already showing how or who are the people. So, ganun yung explanation ng behaviorist view, okay, according to Watson. The next, social cognitive learning theorist by Albert Bandura. When we see the behavior of a model being rewarded, we are likely to imitate that behavior. Behavior is learned through observation and imitation, not conditioning through reinforcement of punishment. Okay, so ang ibig sabihin nito, do not imitate what is bad, okay? Or do not imitate observe bad behaviors, okay? So parang let's say for example, kasi ang ginawa dito na example is yung mga nagte-train ng aso, di ba? Ang mga nagte-train ng mga aso, let's say for example, the canine, okay? If you can observe, there are some phrases na binibigay nila. Okay? Ano, paulit-ulit yun 10 times in order for them to train the dog well. Let's say for example, when they look into some illegal matters, like say for example, pinapaamoy nila yung drugs. And then, pagkatapos, hinahayaan nila yon. Pag naamoy nung aso, okay, binibigyan nila ng praises yon. Good boy, good dog. Okay? Yun, ini-implant nila yan sa utak ng aso na kapag yun ang gagawin ng aso, yun rin ang mabibigyan sila ng reinforcement or they are being given reward. So, that is the social cognitive learning theory. Okay? So, same's true na sa inyo, ng mga estudyante. Ano bang nakikita nyong reward? Why is it that you are going to school? Your reward is that when you finish your studies, okay, you will also be, you can live by your own, earn by your own. Okay, di ba? Yun ang isang nakikita nyong reward. So, that is social cognitive learning theory. Kasi nakita nyo sa mga, let's say for example, kapitbahay nyo. Nung hindi pa nakapag-aral, mahirap ang buhay. Or let's say for example, yeah. And then, when they become professionals, unti-unti na nag-i-improve yung buhay nila. That's why, you want also to be like that. And what should you do? You learn. You go to school. Finish a degree. And apply the degree. Apply for a job. And in the future, you are hoping that you will be better. Your life would be better also. Okay? So, next, let's go to number 4. Okay, so, ito. Isang explanation ng social learning theory. Okay, people can learn through observation. Ino-observe ninyo kung ano yung ginagawa nila. Mental states are important learning. So, anong ginagawa? Magbasa ka. You go to school. Study. Okay? And learning does not necessarily lead to behavior change. Ito, mga iba, the behavior is being changed, but it is not necessary. Sometimes, kung minsan, dapat ito ang iwasan natin. Okay? Iwasan sana natin. These are supposed to be the things na ginagawa natin. Okay. So, number 4, cognitive theory. What is cognitive theory? The cognitive respective focuses on the process that allow people to know, understand, think about the world. The cognitive respective emphasizes how people internally represent and think about the world. So, cognitive came from the word cognition, which means thinking. Okay? So, basically, yung paano tayo mag-isip. Okay? So people thinks differently. Okay, a child cannot think like an adult. Same's true. An adult cannot think like a child. Okay, so but with so yun ang basically na explanation ng cognitive theory. So nung bata tayo, hindi tayo tinuturuan kaagad ng mga advanced lessons because yung pag-iisip natin hindi parang adult. Let's say for example, hindi ka tinuturuan ng teacher mo ng 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or pagbilang nung nasa grade 6 ka na. Why? Because that is already boring to you. Kasi nalagpasan mo na yung level na yon. Okay? And then uh, ang ginagawa natin sa pag-iisip or when we learn, we uses the five senses of our body. Okay? But with the emergence of technology, yun ang problema. Why? Because we are overloaded with information. The problem with overloaded information. Let's say for example, anong ibig kong sabihin with technology? With the technology, uh, okay, marami na tayo with the net. Okay, anong ginagamit natin para ma-access ng net? Okay, cellphone, okay, phone, okay, your PC, okay, laptop, okay, and others, okay? And then with this, ang problema dito, okay? Hindi ito nasa-sanitize, especially in the net. Maraming information na ibibigay sa atin. The problem is when we are bombarded with too much information and hindi natin na-screen or walang nag-i-screen, yun magkakaroon tayo ng problema kasi hindi natin alam kung eh, ano yung tama o mali. That's why, okay? That's why we go to school because teachers teach or they will choose the appropriate teaching method and skills in order for us to learn as a student. Okay? So, with this technology, nakikita natin maraming, let's say for example, for information purposes, maraming nagbibigay ng information na hindi natin alam kung tama o mali. So, yun. Okay? Kahit na tinitingnan natin, yun. Yeah, we are overloaded with the information. Noon, at least we have used only the five senses sa ating body in order to help us think about what is being done. Okay? And remember, uh, ladies and gentlemen, the head is on top. The head is on top of our body, so that all actions should have been decided intelligently. So, yun. Okay, so cognitive. It is more on how we think. Next, number 5 will be a socio-cultural theory. Russian psychologist. Uh, and what it says proposes that a full understanding of development is impossible without taking into account the culture in which children develop. Okay, so what does it mean? The culture shapes the values of individuals. For example, Filipinos are known to be close family ties. Therefore, we are uh, we thought to be concerned with each other. So, yun ang isang yan. Okay, socio-cultural theory. Okay, let's say for example, for us Filipinos, or we are known for our close family ties. Therefore, we are thought to be concerned with each other. So, kahit saan tayo, kapag Pilipino tayo, yun ang isang tatak natin because we care for each other. Because that is within our values. Okay? Since time immemorial, we care for our families. Okay? Remember that if ang ginagawa pa natin is we can even sacrifice other things in order for us to take care of our family. Okay. Then number 6 is number 6. Okay, you see this? Okay. Social social cultural theory development. Person's cognitive development is largely influenced by their surroundings or by the culture. Okay? So, ang pamilya mo, let's say for example, pag madasalin, remember, if they are religious, then it follows. When also your family is a music lover, then definitely it follows. And if you are fond of farming, then you become also farmer. And it largely influence our development as a person, especially within the culture and when we were young. Okay. Ecological theory. Okay, the ecological model, the major proponent of which is Urie Bronfenbrenner. Okay, seeks to explain individual knowledge development and competencies in terms of the guidance, support, and structure provided by society, and to explain social change over time in terms of the cumulative effective of individual choices. So, behavior in ecological theory, okay, behavior is shaped by society. External influences, the school, for instance, should guide students to be responsible citizens, and such will prevent the students to go against the government. Okay? Let's say for example, yung ginagawa natin ngayon, okay? We are influencing you or teaching you to become more responsible as a person and see wider, okay, broader things that would benefit you when you go to school or when you undergo training. Okay? Kasi yun dapat hindi yung the other way around. Okay? Next. Okay, you see here. Okay? As a child, there are some, but first you can see home child, siblings, parents, school, peers, teachers, okay? Neighborhood, adults, okay? These are the things that would surround or would give influence to the child. Okay? Outside, okay, we have schools, neighbors. These are institutions that would, okay, especially school, okay, neighborhood, and religious setting. Okay? These are institutions that would affect its behavior or the child's behavior. Right? So it's ecology and others. Okay? We have mass media. This one. Okay? Kung ano yung mga naririnig natin, kung minsan, yun din ang pinapaniwalaan natin without investigating. Kaya mainam talaga na even if this nandito ang mga to, we have still schools, home, and of course, most importantly, your parent. And of course, okay, your second parent as your teachers. Okay. Next, humanism theory. What is humanism theory? Okay. The humanistic perspective contends that people have a natural tendency to make decisions about their lives and control behavior. Okay? So, it means that, okay, everyone decides on his or her actions. As a student, your decisions should always be geared towards your studies. So, yun. Dapat pinag-iisipan ninyo as na estudyante. What are your responsibility? Tinitignan sana natin na ang responsibilidad natin ay mag-aral. It is not the other way around. Okay? Especially for those like me who came in the provinces, you did not came here in the highly urbanized or urbanized areas in order to look for your wife or your husband. But what is your main objective is to finish or to finish and finish your studies, finish a degree, okay? And of course, look for a job. The next is, okay, this about humanism. According to this, humanism is a belief system that began in the 1960s. It focuses on person's dignity, freedom, and their potential. Okay? Kung minsan yung freedom na-abuse natin, as I've said a while ago, yung sinabi ko nga sa atin, our parents let us, you send, as a student, they send you here to come and study. Okay, yun lang. Pero because of freedom, may mga ginagawa natin na iba which disturbs the main focus or main purpose. That's why they are sent here as a student. Humanists hold the belief that all people are inherently good and possesses unlimited potential for their own personal growth and development. A main purpose of humanism is the development of people who became self-actualized. Learning is student-centered and very personalized according to each individual, and that is true. So learning, learning is student-centered, and very personalized. Like say for example, ang ginagawa natin ngayon, we are guiding you in order to look into the human values the positive human values which you need to possess as a student and as a future officer in the future. Okay, so the evolutionary theory. The evolutionary theory stresses that behavior is strongly influenced by biology. It is tied to evolution and is characterized by critical or sensitive periods. Okay? So, basically kasi, ang alam natin sa evolution is the Darwinian evolution. Which, paano? Ito. We came from an ape and then we evolved. Okay? So, we evolved na naging ganito na tayo because of may technology pa, nagse-selfie pa. Nakita nyo, hindi natin alam kung tablet or ano yon. But, in the others, in the sense of evolution as a human, this theory explains that the biological changes that takes place in an individual, like during puberty, where person experience changes physically and emotionally that can affect his or her okay, values or attitude. Okay? So, okay, aside from this evolution, nandito tayo. Okay? Okay? So here we have here the changes, okay? The evolutionary changes that we have here. This one. When we were still young, okay? And as we go up, even females, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga changes, emotional changes, okay? For example, attitudes and values. And that is supposed to be guided, and that is very, very much important, especially for you, teenagers, or for us, teenagers, okay? We need to be guided in order for us to have values and good attitude in life. So, yun ang isang ini-explain ng evolution theory, especially on biology. Okay? Next is ethics and moral. Okay? So ethics comes from the Greek word ethos, meaning character or custom. Okay? In ethics, it has many components. Okay? It has principles, morals, values, integrity. Okay? The conduct, these are all okay, ingredients of an ethical standard or ethics. Okay? Without this, okay, ethics, okay, wala kang ethics kung wala ang mga to. Because this integrity, values, honesty, all of this are the ingredients of an ethics. Okay? So, next, simply, ethics is, okay, it could be explained by what is the right doing and what are the wrongdoings. Okay? So, next, let's go to morality. Okay? Okay, so morality. Okay? The term morality can be used either descriptively to refer to a code of conduct put forward by a society that it is used as a guide to behavior by the members of the society. Normatively, to refer a code of conduct that, given specified conditions, would be put forward all rational persons for governing the behavior of normal agent. Okay? So, sa moral, sa morality, okay, uh, it has maraming inaapektuhan ng morality. It might be moral to others, but for others it's not. So it simple says that morality affects our it says here that morality affects daily choices. Those decisions are guided by conscience. The purpose of morality is to provide a framework of optimum human survival. The standard of morality, however, is absolute and immutable long-term optimum human survival. So, here in morality, nakikita natin, explains that morality, the term is on how we choose, okay, what is, okay, right from wrong. If you can see the last pictures, is the last picture that I have shown you, is about the good and evil in us. Okay? So, it's about how we choose or ano yung dapat nating gawin. Yung ito ba? The one that's being represented by this picture or this one. Okay? That's why it says there that it has a long-term optimum human survival. Okay? Bakit? Kasi yung mga iba, in order to survive, they do the things that this picture predicts or shows, and the other one is this one. So, our dear students, okay, we would encourage you to be more, to choose on this side rather than at the other side. Because as a student, as a young student, you have great opportunities in life. So, do not uh, destroy that with a blink of an eye, okay? Because you need to choose, okay? Hopefully that with this discussion on values education, you have learned something from us, and those learnings from you could be also applied in the near future. So I hope you have no questions. I hope that you have understood what we have discussed. Okay? And the summary of our discussion was self-development, values education, forces that shapes contemporary values. Okay? We have the theories and values formation, ethics in moral education, and the morality and our conscience. Okay? So again, uh, thank you very much and have a good day and goodbye.